me for 10 full minutes.
Sorry, that's 9.5 minutes more than my wife ever wants. There we are.
Lucky me. So super excited for Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. What made you want to be a part of this film that was much more than I had anticipated?
So you've seen it?
Yes.
I guess I can't ask you an honest question like, what did you think, or did you like it?
I loved it. I loved it. It's like every woman's dream.
It is. Well, funnily enough, so I watched it for the first time 2 nights ago with my wife, who normally goes to bed at 9 o'clock. She has long COVID and she, can't stay up anymore. My mother-in-law, who never shuts up. She watches the film. She talks all the way through it always. And my 20-year-old daughter, who was with us, who watches things on her phone and doesn't like to be in the room with her parents very much. And they all sat glued to it completely. And at the end, they turned and literally, like they'd rehearsed it, they went, just like you, they went, I love this film. And so that's what I thought. I read it and I thought, wait a second, this is incredibly charming. This is a film, no one's making films like this. This is just, we live in these dark times with lots of cynicism around, and films have to go further and further, be edgier. And this just celebrates kindness and beauty of the soul and compassion. And I don't know, I also knew, because I know Anthony the director, I knew that Paris and all the frocks and all the clothes would look spectacular and the music would be great, but the craft of it aside, I thought, what a bunch of lovely people to spend time with, and not only that, to see a romance of a woman of a certain age. It's very rare that women of Lesley's age get to play their romances and their dreams out in life or on screen. So for all those reasons, I couldn't wait to be part of it.
And it touches a lot, like you said, yes, fashion, but there's the romance, and there's also the fact that yes, she's an older woman, but there's still dreams never end.
And also Mrs. Harris, she is she's a house cleaner. She's undereducated. There's a lot of British class in it, and French class and snobbery, and she knows exactly where she is in the great hierarchy of things. But she understands human beings, and she's not ashamed or embarrassed about who she is. And she has the courage and intelligence and compassion to cut through all of that artifice and say what needs to be said to who needs to hear it. And that's a kind of magical and inspiring thing to watch too. It's
also the delivery, right? Because you could be you could be saying something maybe not very straightforward, that with the poor delivery can come.
Well, that's true. Bad acting can ruin any film. That's true. But bad music, bad editing, bad directing, all that stuff. Bad costumes could do it. But I knew when I was asked to be part of this that Lesley Manville was doing it. Lesley Manville is just a phenomenal actress. I was pretty intimidated to work with her. But I should have remembered that the really great actors are great actors because they make human connections. That's what the film's about. That's what Lesley's always been about. That's why I watched her be so magnificent. And it took, just a blink of an eye before I felt completely connected to her. And, she was available, whatever the right words are. It's just actors are really your children playing in a sandbox. And so you have to leave all your inhibitions and shame and embarrassment and ego outside. And there was none of that. And of course, that's why she's so brilliant.
She is. So what was it like to show a little bit of your dancing skills with her?
Well, there's a spoiler alert in there. So we did some rehearsing together. Lesley and I both danced. We did some rehearsals with this rather fantastic waltz pair who are a ballroom dance champions in Hungary. And when I danced with the lady, I was pretty damn good. And when Lesley danced, who I think is next dancer, danced with the guy, they were amazing. Together, I'm not sure we were the same combination. I have a suspicion that maybe it was the other partners who made us look so good. Together, I'm not sure we'll be getting any Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers spin-offs from this.
So now talk about your character, about Archie, who shows to be very loyal, a real true gentleman.
He is. Well, he's a bookie. He's a bookmaker who takes bets, and he's got that Northern Irish charm and swagger to him. He's a ladies' man. And so at first you meet him and you think, well, I've seen these kinds of characters before in these period films. There's something slightly dodgy about him. He's certainly anxious when he sees a policeman around at our house. But nothing in this film is exactly what it seems. And none of the characters are as simple as you might think if you're looking for caricature. And Archie is a friend. It's so nice to see a romance develop. He's one of numbers of suitors vying for Mrs. Harris's attention. But he's known her for a long time. And so there isn't that thing, that phrase, meet cute in a rom-com, the two people meet because they accidentally, go for the same taxi, or they bump heads in the supermarket, or they, fall out of a plane together, whatever it is. There's none of that. They know each other, and he likes her. But what Archie understands about her, Mrs. Harris is so intuitive about all the people around her. She's such a great help to all the people around her in her life, but she doesn't recognize her own value, and he does. He sees something in her that is worth seeing and paying attention to, even if she doesn't. And that's part of for me, one of the very heartwarming strands in the film.
I feel like she was that character for all the other characters, that little fairy godmother that just brought in a little awakening.
Absolutely right. I mean, the film's it's not about, it's not a message movie. There's many elements in it, and one of them is these strict layers of society, the kind of British class society, the French kind of snobbery, and Mrs. Harris knows where she is. She's kind of at the bottom rung. She's a cleaner. She doesn't pretend or aspire to not being and own exactly who she is. Mrs. Harris, although she's very well aware of where she sits in the social scale, she also doesn't let it stop her speaking to anyone from any level, speaking great sense and with kindness and with tremendous perception. And I think that's one of the great things, one of the elements of the film that works so well, because those things haven't really gone away. The class system hasn't gone away, and there's certainly people who feel they are above or below anyone else. And it's inspiring to see someone who goes, none of that means anything to me. I'm just going to look you in your eyes and tell you what you need to hear.
Yes. So what was it like working with Anthony under his direction?
Well, Anthony and I had wanted to work together before, and it didn't work out. So I was thrilled. When he offered me this, we were deep in lockdown. The world was deep in lockdown. And I went to Hungary, which I think was not just in lockdown, it was in curfew. So there was a strange thing that went on for a long time during the worst of COVID, which I hope is behind us, which is that actors were allowed to travel to countries where no one was allowed to travel because we were deemed essential workers. I would question deeply how essential acting is, or even television and filmmaking, but nonetheless, I got to fly in, and when he asked me, I was extremely anxious about what were the safety protocols. I remember having that discussion with him at some length. And then I realized once I got to work, how much safer it was than my own house with my teenage daughters and the various social things that went in and out of my front door. So he's got we had a dinner the first night, or one of the first nights, at Lesley's flat, and Anthony cooked. And it was so beautifully and carefully prepared and presented and delicious and nuanced. I knew the film was going to be okay. No, I mean, I'd seen his other films. I knew he was a great filmmaker, but there was something about that meal the first night that made me realize what safe hands we were in.
That's brilliant. And you know what? I do consider actors essential workers, because if it weren't for you guys, we would be losing our mind and not having any making you feel good.
I heard that argument, and I want to believe it, but the truth is that there are hundreds of thousands of hours of brilliant films and television that you and I have never seen that have been made over the last 100 years. I didn't necessarily need to be given permission to fly backwards and forwards to countries where I was one of the only people on the plane, but I'm very grateful that I got the opportunity.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for your time. It was great speaking with you again, and hopefully another time.
Till next time. There'll be a next time. I look forward to it.
For sure. You keep busy.
I'll try.
Thank you. Bye-bye.